Okay, so this is wrong. See description. This is right, at least if I see the board correctly for me. Black hangs in the corner. The white rook is with one square in between above it, and the white rook is in between. So he has a check. It's not mate. Black has just one move. Just to go to 1-0. If after that it's made in 14 ply, well, I don't know. But the number of children is definitely not 2. Classification for white to move is illegal because black is in check. In which case this is definitely not calculated, and this is also not calculated. So it's just set to 0. And in the 64 times 64 case, you also have the illegal. That seems to work. And here it correctly had a draw, for example. And even yeah, well, this is always unknown because it just wasn't calculated yet. The number of children is also set to 0 here. Those are 2 server processes that I wrote. This process contacts the other 2 to evaluate the memory mapped files of the 32 times 32 respectively 64 times 64 board. And yeah, it's all that 1 is unequal to, so that the equal is fails. It's also printed here. Now let me think. This is then still the program that is wrong. This is work from here. And what goes wrong is the classification. It means I have to work with non-existing files. I'm confused to delete my stuff though. I think I'm done with bug. Bug worked if I had a version that worked at all. But as soon as I have a 64 times 64 file, I'm not really interested anymore in speeding it up. So as soon as I have a working version, I'm not going to write other code and then compare it with the correct version. So I don't need or want to do that anymore. It's kind of the return 0 here, okay. So I'm not going to do this anymore then. So testing contents for black to move. I'm not testing it against G. Don't have G anymore. And this one. So I want to create a graph as if the file does not exist, but do need to memory map something, so maybe I should just create a new directory. Those files are very, very, very big though. If I want to test it with the 64 times 64, I need 550 gigabytes of space somewhere. So that only fits on this disk. Or on that one, but that one is very slow. Well, not very slow, but I need an NVMe. Maybe I should do this testing on the NVMe one, which I'm not using yet. We created this. This one is 1 terabyte, so I can make a partition there as well and then use that for this test. I can just whatever is on it, delete it every time. And I forgot again how I made this partition. With fdisk? Suppose I did it. I think I did it with fdisk. No. It's empty. Okay. Oh, M. N is new, I think. Yep. So new primary one first vector, last vector, print, and write. Then we have this one. Okay, file sudo make file system x4 def partition. What was I'm sitting for my head? System CTL reload daemon? Nope, not daemon. I don't know. Reload something. Nope. No. Demon reload. Okay, reload demon, demon reload. I was very close. So let's do our testing on here. And then that should be that the file does not exist, so it should print file does not exist, creating directory, but only if debugging is turned on. I think debugging is turned on. It's turned on. File does not exist. Using existing file. No, that's not going to be printed. Create a graph. The file does not exist. And then we call classify. And then classify runs over an impossible amount of positions. I think I can just make this very small. Or not. And let's limit the x and y coordinate of the kings to 4. And the rook, yeah, probably has to do everything. You construct then all the boards with the black king and the white king inside this 4x4 square in the corner, and the rook anywhere. And then we determine all legal ones. And then only when that's legal, I access the corresponding info object that is mapped in the memory mapped file. As well, I get a reference to the classification thereof. Classification should still be marked as not legal, because it's 0, all zeros. And then we call determine. I think determine is then the one that works, because I believe that this should only set those few bits, 5 bits. Classification determine calls classification reset, which only resets the 5 bits. Yeah, all 0. So now it's not check, and not draw, and not mate, and not stalemate, and not legal. But it was already 0. So then we determined for this board if it is check, and it is. So we set check. We turn if it is draw, and it is not. So we do not do this. And I want to move to be black, right? Well, we do it for every position, I guess. So we should call determined for white and black both. Has moves, it should work. I think all of this should does work. Okay, it's not mate, it's not stalemate. Just do an assert. And we set it to be legal. Okay, I'm missing the set check here. Position cannot be stalemate unless black to move. What is it doing then? Oh, set check is set here. Okay, never mind. Okay. So this has nothing to do with the number of children, and I'm pretty sure it works. And then, well, the position was classified as not being a draw, so now we get here. Also loop over both colors. Now, for my particular board, we are interested in the position where it is black to move. So that would be this call. And then only for that exact board. So I don't really need to loop at all, I realize now. We can just set all these values. To that one case, and then see why this is not working. Generate neighbors is apparently not working. Well, it is already 0, maybe, but the code is also already typed. And this one also. How do I print full board again? I forgot. Oh, something with UTF-8. Board UTF-8 art. Okay. And I have a debug version, maybe even better. UTF-8 art. Yeah, this one. Print the board on the test, and then after testing, where it is immediately done, I think. It just break here. Maybe I don't even want to return. So I just call exit here. Call to set color. Well, color is black, so that is all, was already 0 as well. So we should get here, set number of children. Let's see that it actually sets it to 2 first. All right. Well, that takes a long time for a single board. It's still inside the memory map pool. So zeroing out this thing, it should also not have existed. I don't get it. Oh, he crashed, I think. Yeah, because he crashed, his file was never deleted. That's why it takes so long. No, that is NVMe 1. I don't think both fit in this. They're both like huge. Of only 934 gigabyte. The temp data is not really necessary, but why would it take so long to create? Well, if it doesn't fit, maybe. Let's try it again. Yeah, what the hell, huh? What? Is this thing even a little bigger than that one? It just doesn't fit. Why is it not printing that it could not allocate memory or something? Disk full. CPU is doing something. This makes no sense whatsoever. What? What the hell? Oh, okay. So yeah, allocation does fail, but we're hanging in something else. It's just a combination of two things. When to move stars, it is so wrong. I can only call this function once. Maybe it failed because I called it from the debugger. Can't keep on calling allocate. Yeah, I don't think that false would even be used actually. I can't do that. It just initialized in the constructor initializer list here. And this is always true, so it's kind of bullshit to even have the boolean, but now the allocation happens in between this and this, so. Can also set the unique pointer to null maybe. Okay, do nothing and then set him later in the constructor body. Do that instead then. Let's make this private. It's already private. What is this? Oh, oh yeah, this is being used. Actually, you cannot use assignment here. You have to use a copy constructor. Ridiculous. I don't understand why this is using so much CPU, because my intent was that it's using no CPU at all. Okay. Not calling any constructor. Maybe I should not use new. We should just use a reinterpret cast. think it has to be a POD type, and I think a POD type is only gonna be happening if it has no constructors whatsoever. Which means, am I ever calling this with initialize equals true? And then the same, of course, for well, this thing is not even passing initialize to classification. I mean, to the constructor, I am calling info initialize, which calls initialize on classification. Classification itself is never constructed with a boolean. Let me think here. Okay, so we are going to remove that in an attempt to make it faster. Hello, Turevik. I won't say much, but POD is exactly these things. So why would I test them as well? Yeah, this one is at least shorter. And this failed before because I did have a... You know, no matter how you look at it, now I defined a constructor. Therefore, it is no longer POD. Probably also not trivial, because, yeah, I mean, the default constructor is trivial. But the whole thing definitely not. I just want to see it fail. A static assertion failed. Good. Okay. Hopefully this will work better, and then we add the same thing to info, because, well, so also here, actually my array contains info, so that contains classification and degree type. So this must be removed again. And then this must hold. Maybe I should add type traits to classification. The header. No, apparently you never passed through. Anyways. Hey, no, that worked. Now it was instant. Oh fuck, actually use existing file. I have to test it with a non-existing file. Yes, very good. That's a considerable speed up in the start. Okay, board under test, it prints the whole thing. It's a big board. So we have this black king in the corner, and then the rook gives check, and the white king is over here. Obviously, the number of children with black to move is 1. The king can go there. That's the only possibility. And then it prints set enter set number of children, and I forgot to print the actual Very great, and still don't know anything. Oh, actually I do print it, but it's a character. You have to cast it. Static cast to an uint32 type. Yeah, okay, so it thinks that there are two children, which is clearly not the case. And now we can finally start to debug it. Let me see. Why is it not complaining that I tried to remove the temp file, which should not exist? Let me fix that first. It's just kind of weird. So we run this program and it exits cleanly. Then ouch, this one exists still. Should have been deleted. And this was used, so that fits. Why is it not deleted? Grab sources, temp, data, image. Remove. So either my graph is not destructed, which is very unlikely. Very, very, very unlikely. And nothing is printed. I'm calling exit 1 from here. Does that cause no destructors to be called? Seems pretty weird. That would be the case. Can't think of another reason though. Maybe exit is not the C++ thing. Not really. Although you would expect it to no, apparently not. Let's remove the exit 1 then. Replace it with something that makes more sense. So I'm gonna do break here. So we just return from this function, which is called classify. Yeah, we're just done. This exits main, and then definitely delete the destructor of this thing should be called. Come on, no way it doesn't do that then. And suddenly something changed. Classification is legal failed. Got to be kidding me. Oh, wait a minute, it continues. That's not what I wanted. The break is not enough. Oh, we break only out of one loop. I'm an idiot. Yeah, okay. So we have many loops. I don't want to break here. Well, I want to break out of all loops. Aka return. Okay, so now this should no longer exist. Yeah, it doesn't. Very good. An ls here as well. The other one, of course, still exists. Now I only have to remove this one. Now I want to know why there is a 2 here, because that's what this was all about. I think that would be this call here. So that value is returned by generate neighbors, which is a member function of board. If 2 moves wide, no neighbors is 0, so generate king moves is being called, and that apparently sets neighbors to 2. Might as well go here. Generate king moves for relation to move. That's the same as these things. Which was children black. Both are output. No, neighbors is set to 0. I might print it. It's just incremented, I think. Yeah, let's print the relation. How do we do that? I think relation is an enum, and I think I have support for enchantum. So theoretically it should work if I do utils to string relation, comma, and color type. That's also an enum, I guess. Totally. See if utils to string is indeed a const expression. Feeling not so sure about it. toString. No, that is not a const expression. Oh, it doesn't have to be, of course. Never mind. Doesn't have to be. Please add the Enchantum submodule to the root of the project. Are you saying I don't have it? I don't have it. I don't have it. Okay. Git submodule add Enchantum. Copy. Now what is missing? I'm not linking with it or something. This sucks. I added that. What? No, from .git to Enchantum, which of course is not interesting. Yeah, this is what is missing. To link with this now as well. It's not automatically added to. Yeah, okay. But maybe there's more, because it also fails here now. I guess it's a compilation of classification.cxx for one of the servers. In other words, yeah, they need it as well. That makes sense, actually. Still failures. Memory map pool. I don't know. I've only one thing left, but I thought I wouldn't need it. Try that one as well then. The last one, right? Add executables. This thing only has compare.cxx. How can it ever need that? Fuck. Is this a bug in memory? Yeah, this needs this as well. In other words, we need that to be set. Use enchantum is defined. But configuring memory, nothing. Enchant them enabled. And it is not set the option. That's not good. Apparently that option doesn't make it to the memory submodule. Yeah. Not sure to do that at all. Yay, 11 euros, whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I need it. Might as well do it, but it works me so far. What do I get more than if I have Pro? Do I not already have Pro? Not running into some limit. Hi, Robin. Well, today is about CMake. Well, right now anyway. So we have two Git modules. They both define an object library. Memory depends on utils. It has did I change something here? Oh, I removed that again. Okay, whatever. Oh, it is memory. Yeah, maybe I should show this as well then. I don't know. Utils detects if a certain feature exists. It does. Where is my library? Yeah. No, I lost my enchantum. Oh yeah. If utils sets then memory needs to link with enchantum. I tried to add two utils. She make lists dot text. But here option enchantum is not set. Visible. How can I communicate from utils to memory that this option is required? Do you use Logger for problem identification? I mostly use libcwd, which is for debugging output, yeah. And then only when I have something that is very small, very reproducible, then I step it through it in the debugger. If that feels necessary, or maybe even potentially solving the problem faster than by relying on debug output. Normally debugger is absolutely not enough, so mostly I rely on debug output. You're running, oh, blah, 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 blah. It is always the classic. This is so template. I'm getting discusses with those AI. You're running into the classic CMake scope issue. No. Just give me an answer. The most idiomatic and modern way to solve this, yeah, in your dreams. But hey, it makes a good start. So it's predicting the next sentence, the next word, and I thought, well, you know, let's throw an audiomatic and modern way into it, because I don't know what I'm going to say yet, But that would be a good answer. Yeah, okay. To solve this is by attaching the dependency directly to your utils target's interface. I agree. This way, any target that links to utils will automatically inherit the dependency if it's needed. The correct approach is to modify utils, that's necessary, to add as an interface dependency to your utils library. This essentially tells CMake any code that uses me utils must also link against Enchantum. I feel stupid because, yeah, I should have known that. And respect to the AI for actually pointing this out. The modern CMake solution, your util CMake list, find the block where you detect and enable Enchantum instead of setting a variable directly link to your library's interface. Yeah, just add it to the target link libraries. Obviously. Did it not already do that? It seems so trivial. Yeah, that's also... Yeah, no. The comments are not necessary. And this is utils, right? No, this is memory. Well, don't need to do this either. Then I just we are linking already privately to utils. Thus, utils must have it in its interface. It's actually super easy. Super easy. So it was not used before, so it doesn't use it itself. It's kind of like this one. If something, then add it. Still problems. It did include a header now, at least. Redefinition of toString is different kind of symbol. Previous definition is here. Vector index. How is that a different type of... Oh, wait a minute. I'm still a little bit confused though. This one is doing what? That is just an in utils defined toString function. And the other one is a functor, I think. That's probably the problem. Because if it was also a function, then this would simply be an overload. Maybe not, yeah, yeah, or specialization. I'm not sure actually. Anyway, this is a template function for vector index, any category. Okay. And what is this then? Yeah, this is an object. This defines a functor. Maybe. So if enchantum is used, we have a functor that if you call it with an enum, then it's using toString from namespace ADL. Why so difficult? I can't remember what was the trick with the functor. I mean, the guy that wrote enchantum, he explained it to me, but it never really clicked. Yeah, he said something like, what was the advantage now? Something had to do with ADL actually. Gonna ask this guy if he's online. So I said, hi, are you online? And Chantum is biting me again because you use toString as a functor. Can you explain again why we are needing a functor? But, well... guess he's not online, not immediately. So I'll just add more information so that we get an answer while I sleep or something. So, oops. Before we ended up with but I also have somewhere in namespace utils. And now I get the error. Maybe the AI knows. Haha, the very idea. But you never know, right? Okay, this was excellent. I think, yeah. What would be the reason to define an object? No, yeah, well, yeah, an object to string that is a functor. Or defining it as a function. Yeah, well, no. Explode stateless. Ability. Oh yeah, I think it had to do with this. Yeah, maybe could boss them. So. So again, I think with state. Oh, okay, that sucks. First they bait you, and if you then click away, they say, no, 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 no. Pay now! Pay! So that was the reason I had to pay. Because they refused me more access here. No, well, maybe I should just go to bed then. This is my cue to go to bed. He doesn't know yet that he's going to play c5. He's not going to play c5. Well, that's interesting. Nobody understood the knight move. The whole reason to... Yeah, what? Whole reason to move the bishop back is so that if my bishop goes here, I can't exchange it, or... No, I don't know. You know, the whole reason that this bishop goes here is to stop this pawn coming forward. So this pawn. Now there is no reason for me anymore to put my bishop here, because pawn can't go past this square anymore anyway. How are you going to defend this pawn? I'm not having enough pieces. Tick, 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 king goes away. Oh, king goes already away. Dang. Take, take, take. A rook comes here maybe. I'll just take with the knight first. Take, take, take. Pawn forward. Take, take. Okay, now he's dead. This is of course not possible whatsoever. Hello, Frankenstein. Yes, see the bottom of my description, video description. What? He's just defending that pawn, but we never said that was allowed. Where do I go to now with my poor knight to be threatening a lot? I want to go here, it's not possible. Can I push this one? Oh, you have to do something. Oh. Yeah, and resign. Oh, that was a brilliant move. Really, really, really brilliant. Let's give away everything. Yeah, that check. That check. What about this check? And then I take the bishop. Cannot immediately do that. Now I can do it too. It's not doing it. Oh, now my knight and my rook are attacked. Fuck. I don't think we can save this game. No, not save the game. I don't want to have my rook be taken though. My knight, I mean, with check. Everything sucks equally. Okay, let's give away the knight and then give check here. It's pretty devastating. But he takes us check. That sucks. I defend here. No, then he has this. I could put the rook here anyway. I have to give away my rook in order to free this. If I gave away both, that would be nice. So my king runs. He takes here and there, and then I can give mate here. But how? How are you going to do that? Yes. Okay, you can choose. Take the rook. Oh shit, I should have taken into account my king is still in check if he takes with the queen. He's going to take with the queen, obviously. I'm playing chess. That's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna give away my queen. I don't see anything, any other options. Yeah, that's sure. It's not falling for it. No, we take this pawn, we check, and then I give up. Yeah, okay. I'm going to bed. Okay, for now, just, I don't know, man. This whole enchanting thing, I kind of feel like getting rid of the functor though. It feels so complex, this thing. Oh, he's there. The high has been exchanged. So this is a functor. I turn it into a function. And then I turn that into a functor again. No, why? Okay, the reason was that I have two strings in namespaces of enums that are functions. They are just not in utils. So that's why we can have this one. He says, I think you can make it a normal function. Yeah, maybe I should make this a normal function. I think that the thing is that I have to use utils colon to string, which then always calls this. And then it's going to use ADL to find the toString that belongs to that enum. And if that does not exist, it will find this one, which is a function, which then in turn calls finally enchantum toString, which is again a functor, but we can't help that. Okay, he says he made it a functor because standard ranges transform and stuff uses that. Standard ranges. So he says so he wanted the standard ranges which accepts functors to work. For example, passing and tandem to string as an object to transform. But it seems to be annoying. I guess he meant it seems more annoying than helpful. Maybe I can make a change for it. I haven't released a Chantum 0.4 yet, so I'm able to. And then they say, I don't know, the problems that I ran into aren't super clear to me, as in I have no opinion on whether or not it being a functor really causes my problems. In fact, right now the problem is with utils to string being a functor, not the one in and Tintum. So the fix is not to declare the toString for vector in utils, instead declare it in the same namespace as the vector. Yeah, that is utils. Yeah, exactly. I caught on. Well, it seems that the vector and the list utils, exactly. Yep. Exactly. Oops, toString is there because of ADL. I'm just gonna remove this functor here. So now we have a template, function. This is now toString directly. Oh, the problem with this is maybe that now this is going to call itself. Yeah, that's why it was a functor. This is just going to call itself, and if it is a functor, then it wasn't defined yet, so this would not do that. But not another way to avoid that. To sting. Yeah, it definitely stings, yeah. stinks also. So let's type interestingly. The reason I use the functor in utils myself is to avoid the function to call itself. So I proposed to call this directly from here. But the whole trick with this is that this will prefer calling ADL. So argument dependent lookup, that means call the toString in the namespace where E is defined, if it exists, and otherwise it will fall back to this. So if you call this directly, then I say, yeah, but then you don't have the ADL anymore for toStrings defined in the namespace of the enum. And then he says, but it would if you call it unqualified, aka if you just call toString and not utils toString. But I do remember that I decided to use utils : toString everywhere for enums, explicitly for enums. And I cannot remember anymore why I did that. I don't want to just abandon that idea. I think this whole this is new for me, as in that this is a fallback. Only if this doesn't find it without that, it will use it. I personally, I thought that it would, just throw it all in one basket and then it has to work. But apparently that's not how it works. Okay. I type, thanks, I have to go to bed. what's the thing called? Deep seek. That's not useful. I think what I would prefer definitely is a function toString in utils just for enums, for all enums, any enum, anywhere. Which means that then has to do an unqualified lookup. Without the danger that it will call itself. And functor is then one way, but maybe I can think of another way. Ja, oké, stop de stream.